Now, we are usually a pretty no hype channel. We don't chase the hotness or jump on every single new release. Not typically, at least. But today, we're making a very rare exception. This year will be our first year at Essen Spiel together. And if you're not sure what that is, that's a big board game convention in Germany, which you probably already know. And that just so happens to be right on the tail end of our honeymoon, since we are getting married next week.
Yes,
Yeah, a ring. I don't have a ring. Guys don't get rings. What a
I
shame.
have a
What a
ring.
sham.
You can ask if you wanted one.
That's true. So we're feeling a little extra celebratory, and we thought we would share that excitement with you and go through our top 8 games for Essen Spiel for 2025 that we hope are going to be absolutely awesome. So first up is Echoes of Time. In Echoes of Time, 2 to 4 players each build a fellowship of characters drawn from different factions and vie for control for powerful sources of temporal energy in a mystical world.
So Echoes of Time immediately caught our eye because it's from Simone Luciani. And I'm sure I'm butchering her name,
That's probably close.
but
He's not watching this.
maybe, you never know. He's a designer who did a bunch of games that we love, like Grand Austria Hotel and Zolke.
Mm.
He's teamed up with a newish designer, and I don't really know much about
Yeah, I
him.
don't know him either.
But honestly, Simone's name was enough to get us interested. At its very core, Echoes of Time is one of those games where you're constantly torn between tough card decisions. Every card can either be played for its effect or spent as a resource to fund something else. So you're always agonizing over whether to keep that action or sacrifice it to build your engine. That kind of hand tension is exactly what keeps us engaged in any Euro game.
Who doesn't love hand tension? But the real tension kind of comes
Sounds
from
like a dirty comment.
but the real tension I think comes from like player interaction. There are just a few like little take that elements sprinkled into the game. Things like being able to knock out an opponent's points or steal one of their area cards. It's not overwhelming, but it ties directly into the same area majority system where timing move to grab a card from another player can swing points in your favor. I actually like a touch of direct interaction in games like this because it mixes up the usual like everyone play your own puzzle thingy vibe that a lot of Euros have a tendency to fall into. And also, like, if you've been watching the channel, you know I meme, and I like meme stuff. So any take that elements is good. On top of that, there's a strong combo element here. Like cards tend to synergize with others of the same type, so you're constantly on the hunt for those pairings that chain together
Mhm.
and really make your tableau feel fulfilling as you're sort of building it. And then there's a spatial twist. Cards sort of
Yeah.
slide down a track as you play them. So the order in which you play them sort of matters. Getting that sequence right for maximum benefits is sort of like another layer of strategy that I think keeps the entire decision process like a lot more interesting.
Yeah. So between Simone's track record, the mix of Euro puzzle, and hopefully a very, very small amount of mean
More
interaction.
interaction, more
Well,
mean.
hopefully. I guess of time is not so mean, but we're very much looking forward to try this game on an
I hope
Essen.
it's all take that.
Why you like
We
this?
will see at Essen. We're getting married. Hooray. It's okay to be mean now. And next up is Dirt and Dust. Dirt and Dust throws you straight into a rally race across dusty, dangerous tracks. Each turn you've got to decide, do you play it safe or do you gut it and risk wrecking your car? It's all about speed, momentum, and surviving the shifting terrain with hazards that can wreck your best laid plans in an instant.
Okay, so this pick feels a little bit like cheating because we did kind of get to demo Did and Dust at Gen Con. But in our defense, we couldn't actually get our hands on a copy or play the full game.
No.
So Essen's kind of our only shot to get a copy to actually pick it up and fully test out the game. From the demo, what we've seen in this game so far, it looks pretty easy to understand. Every action felt really intuitive. You play your cards, activate them with dice, then you shift them down the row at the end of the round. It's this clever balance of short-term scoring with a bit of long-term deck building.
Yeah, like it's a puzzle for sure, but I think what really had us interested was like how much it leaned into into efficiency. You're always looking for a few spaces ahead on the track, planning how you're going to tackle the next stretch. But at the same time, you've got to react to whatever's happening right now in the moment. And the game even throws in this I think they call it a popularity mechanic, which kind of dares you to sort of push things a little harder just to impress the fans.
Mhm.
So yeah, it might be easier to make that turn really easily and successfully, but it might be a lot more interesting for the fans if you like pushed it and what are they
Like
called?
drifted?
Drifted. Yeah, you drifted along the precipice and almost went over the edge. Yeah, it's a cool thematic touch. And from the short time that we had with it, the drivers already looked pretty different from one another, which is great for replayability. And there's a ton of variability here, like the different rally tracks, changing market deck, and every race should feel. I think it should feel pretty unique, which is important because I believe this one is it seems like a fairly solo game, so the puzzle should always feel worth solving and kind of like different every time. I think
I actually really like those types of games where you just focus on what you're doing yourself. I don't like when someone gets the chance to mess with what I'm doing. But with this one
it's just
particular,
interaction. It's a good thing.
but this one particular game, I make an exception for because the best part is that it's simultaneous. So it's actually a huge plus in our house because the games go a little faster
Mm.
and it's more fun when we're all playing together and no one's waiting for some people at the table to take a million years to take a turn. And for a game that's attempting to simulate a race, it works well thematically as well. So, but don't worry, it's not chaotic real time like Escape or Galaxy Tracker. Even though we love those games, it's more in the vein of Fromage where everyone just takes their turns at the same time.
But yeah, those games are awesome, and I love simultaneous turns. But if I have one concern, though, it's like is that there doesn't seem to be much interaction, which is typical in a lot of those real-time games. And in a racing game, I feel like that's a little unfortunate. Like here, it's more about efficiency and planning than it is like bumping into your opponents and sort of blocking lanes.
That's the fun part about it.
Yeah, I know. Not for me. That's why it's a little lower on the list. But I've been dabbling with solo gaming lately. If you haven't checked it out already, check out the playing with myself video. So I'm more open to that sort of solo playing experience, but I do prefer interaction in my games. So yeah, Dirt and Dust may not be the most like cutthroat racer out there, but from what we've played, very briefly, basically, it felt smooth, it felt exciting, and pretty damn fun. So I'm really looking forward to giving it a proper run, at Essen Spiel. And next up is forestry. In forestry, you step into the role of forest stewards, balancing growth, harvesting, and sustainability. You'll be planting new trees, harvesting wood, fulfilling contracts, managing your forest health, and expanding your influence, all while keeping an eye on long-term sustainability. So in forestry, you're doing your best to build a sustainable forest management system thingy or something like that. Look, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really, I don't really care about theme here. Okay, I'm not a hippie, but just like burn fern gully is all I'm saying. Burn it to the ground, turn it into a parking lot. I don't care. When I was a kid, I used to, fern gully, right?
No.
Oh my God.
I don't know what
Okay,
you're talking about.
you've seen Princess Mononoke.
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
So those types of
Great.
things were really popular when I was a kid, and I guess Avatar for later generations. And I always sided as a kid with the industrialists because the way I saw it, I was like, well, you know what? I can't plug my N64 to play GoldenEye into a tree. So I need the industry. Goodbye, forest. But yeah, that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But kind of, because I think forestry has a pretty unique theme. Most games in this medium and this sort of medium weight Euro lane lean into fantasy and mythological settings like Ferngully and stuff. But here you're managing an actual forest and building things out of wood, which I think is pretty cool. Planting trees, harvesting timber, trying to balance growth and profit. It looks like it simulates the entire process like well. And of course, I'm an expert in all forestry management stuff because I've seen YouTube videos and I've watched Ferngully, so I know all about this shit.
I have to say, I'm very proud that this is not fantasy themed, and I'm like, I'm pro cancel the fairies. I cancel fairy culture.
Cancel all fairies. Yeah, I didn't know, like, we have this friend, this is another tangent, but it's on the topic of fairies. We have this friend, right? And she was like really into fantasy novels. And
I know what you're doing with this.
she was really into fantasy novels. And we went to her house and I was pretty excited because like I like fantasy too. And so I started naming these authors and she knew who they were, but she didn't have any books that like represented those authors, which I thought was kind of strange. And so when I started looking over the collection, I didn't see any of them. So I just thought I was like super out of the loop. And then we get home and like I talked to Kim about it. I was like, well, who are these people? Who are these authors? And then she explained to me the fantasy stuff that she was into. And it's
No,
a,
not me, a friend.
Yeah.
Explain what a friend is into.
it's this stuff called I think it's called fairy smut.
Yeah.
Dudes, I did not know this was like
Whole pop
I
culture
didn't
thing.
know this was like a world that
It's
existed.
a cultural phenomenon.
But it's like all those girls that grew up watching like Beauty and the Beast.
It's Twilight. It's
Is it Twilight?
animation.
I don't know. They were just like, I want to have sex with the Beast. Yeah, that has nothing to do with this game. But it's worth noting. We should make a game. Why? Who is it? Is it Pink Troubadour that makes this? Make a game about fairy smut. I'd like to see it.
Okay, but back to Forestry. So mechanically, this is an action point game, and I usually love those because they open up a ton of options on your turn. The downside is, of course, you'll sometimes get that one player at the table calculating a 27-step forest harvesting mega move while everyone else zones out. But personally, I enjoy having freedom. You can see the available contracts in the market, and there's always a bit of guidance pulling you towards decisions rather than it being a total free for all and just you feeling completely like lost on a given turn. So I like some of the guidance that helps you
It's
direct
helpful.
you like on what to do in your turn. And the kicker is you only get about 9 turns in total. And I like that kind of tight structure. It reminds me of White Castle, one of my favorite games, where you feel the pressure of needing to be efficient, and every turn really counts. It's restricting, yeah, but the restriction is also what breeds creativity in these games and gives you like a good satisfaction that you utilize each of those turns perfectly.
And visually, like, the board is really nice looking and everything looks really great. And I'm always a fan of games where players are sort of interacting on the same map instead of just sort of building their own thing on their own tableau in this sort of like solitary engine. There seems to be like an element of pseudo cooperation, like we're all tending this forest together.
Are you pretending to be my friend?
And sometimes, but at the same,
Pseudo corporate.
well, only a little bit, 'cause only when it suits me and I'm able to push my own agenda and do my own corporate interests. So yeah, forestry isn't going to make me like, I don't know, hug a tree anytime soon. But the theme is unique. It looks like it has a right action point system that's interesting in that sweet spot of player interaction on a shared board. So it's something that we have our eyes on. And yeah, for this month. And if we have any dedicated reading, check out some Fairy Smut. Just enlighten yourself, broaden your horizons.
No.
And next is coming of age. In coming of age, players start as children with weak dice and gradually grow up over the course of the game, gaining stronger dice, placing interest cubes, and moving along personal tracks that represent education, hobbies, relationships, and life goals. Gain the most experience and win the game.
So Coming of Age is the newest design from Danny Garcia, the same line behind Windmill Valley, which we love,
Mm.
and Daitoshi,
True
which
sucks.
yeah.
Sorry.
Come on.
Sorry, Danny.
Both games are reviews on the channel though, so go check them out. Regardless, I'm crossing my fingers that this one lands on the great side of his track record.
Yeah, like Windmill Valley is really good. We really like Windmill Valley, but Itachi just like I don't kind of sucks.
I don't think it's us. I just think it's all too.
It's okay. It doesn't suck. It just felt boring. But this game looks pretty damn good. Like the theme easily grabbed my attention right away. You know, coming of age movies have like a special place in my heart. You know, things like Stand by Me is obviously the best one, and it's cool to see the idea going through different stages of life emulated in a board game. You know, the question is whether you can really pull that off. That's yet to be determined, I suppose. Mechanically, you start the game as like a child with like limited interests and abilities. As children, you know, children suck. They don't know much. They can't do much. And then over the course of the game, you grow into adolescence and adulthood, developing traits, gaining independence, and unlocking new experiences that help you reach your personal life goals. It's an action selection euro with dice, but the clever bit is when you're younger, you're rolling smaller dice with fewer sides. But then as you get older, you grow up and you get to roll bigger dice, like a D6 or something. And I think it's pretty cool. And alongside the dice, there's like these things called interest cubes, which is it's a neat thematic touch. You might go to school because that's where the dice allow you to go, but what you really want to do is you want to go play basketball with your friends. And so the cubes let you reflect that retention between like obligation and desire. And when you're finally able to play ball with your friends, you get more out of it, which I think it's cool.
Now, on your personal board, you're moving up and down tracks to reflect your development, academics, hobbies, relationships, and those tracks give you bonuses along the way. What's interesting is the frustration mechanic. You earn frustration tokens, which you can then use to alter how you progress on other tracks. A nice representation of how setbacks can reshape growth in different areas of life. The overall feel, it feels like a midway euro, though I'll admit all the symbology is kind of triggering some voidfall PTSD for me. They're just it's a lot. It's a lot to read those.
There was a lot of symbols. There's a ton of symbols in Whitefall, and there looks like a ton of symbols in this game, like way too many. But I'm sure I'm sure like Voidfall, the more you play the game,
Mhm.
like the better it gets. Like that's what it is with most symbology in games. My worry is that there doesn't seem to be much interaction or variability. Like from what I can tell, the interaction is mostly like I take this thing before you can, which is fine, but it's not super engaging in a game about personal journeys. I've sort of been burned through this niche before through games like Pursuit of Happiness, which is it's a good game. I just don't think it's great, and CV, which I kind of think kind of sucks. But I love Danny Sartesia's other games, Datashi not included. And if a game can nail the whole coming of age theme well, I mean, like I said, I'm excited. We'll see, right? That's why it's so high up on the list. We're hoping it'll be good. Fingers crossed. And next up is Emberheart. Emberheart is a midway worker placement action selection strategy game from Mindclash, where you cast yourself as a champion on a mission to protect the last dragons of the island from ruthless poachers, doing everything you can from hiring heroes to building preserves to protect these dragons and win the game. Now, Kim and I, we love Minecraft games. There's a very few publishers we play like really close attention to whenever they release something, and Minecraft, I think, is definitely one of them. They've built their reputation on these sort of like a big, heavy, brain-burning titles packed with like like rules and like crunchy decisions.
Our type of game.
Yeah, like big, long 2 hour type, 3 hour type games. But lately they've been branching out into like lighter territory, which means I can't blind buy them anymore.
What are you talking about? You still do.
I do. We Ironwood, it was pretty good. But that said, like Emberheart looks lighter than their usual fare, but I still have pretty high hopes for it. I think it'll be good.
Plus, it honestly looks so cute. Like,
Does look cute.
that's like the top reason to buy a game. But the heart of the game is worker placement, but with a bidding twist. If you really want to secure a particular action or location, you'll need to commit more workers there. The catch is that leaves you with fewer workers to do all the other stuff. I love these kinds of tight decisions, and you always feel like you stretch a little too thin, right? The tough decision space. And the workers themselves aren't generic. You can adjust them and even give them different powers to fit the current board state. And that adds another layer of strategic planning to every turn.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, like the interaction here, it seems more about reading the table and anticipating what other players like what they want to do, almost kind of like what you do in a programming game. So it's not the most like direct in your face interaction, but more kind of on par with the with what is typically released from Minecraft titles. They tend to focus more on giving each player their own little like tight little puzzle to solve
Which I love.
with like Tricarion, right? But with just enough overlap that you can't ignore what other people are doing. And I appreciate enjoy when a game has me more laser focused on what other people are doing on their turn, and giving me the tools in a sense to sort of mitigate my own decisions based on my observations. And so it's just another way to encourage interaction in a sort of roundabout way.
Yeah, they've really done a great job in all their games and how they balance that stuff.
Yeah.
We wish we could give you more information on this game, but even the previews we watched seem kind of vague.
A little bit.
Regardless, from what we have seen, we're definitely looking forward to Emberheart. We're crossing our fingers that it avoids the pitfall of being just another family weight game. Like,
Minecraft.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Minecraft.
yeah. I'm not a fan. It's the game that like I hate myself for not loving because it's so cute.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a hot take or not. It's just like it's
Your
not a
opinion.
bad game. It's just boring. Like it's just so derivative.
It's
Like I don't.
unpopular opinion to not like that
I
game.
think so. Yeah, people seem to love it, but
But we'll get to see it in a couple of weeks.
yeah, we'll
So
see. Dragons, hooray! Dragon smut. Patent pending. Next up is Fea's Swamp. Fea's Swamp takes you deep into the shifting wetlands where every player is trying to carve out the most prosperous settlement. You'll be sending boats across the murky waters, fishing, trading, and even exploring temples hidden among the reeds. So obviously the big hook here is the design team. Like it's coming from the same designers that did the Terra Mystica, who teamed up with a designer of Kawaii, which was essentially an earlier version of this game. Now I've never played Kawaii, but just knowing that lineage gets me kind of gets me to be interested like right away. I mean, Terra Mystica it's a contemporary classic, so anything that they produce now, I'm paying attention to.
at its core, Fea's Swamp is a worker placement game where you're sending workers out to do classic swampy things. Fishing, moving boats around, or building new villages. But the building part is where it gets really interesting. Every time you build, you're essentially changing the geography of the swamp, creating new islands that make it harder to navigate through that space. So you're not just managing resources, you're dealing with this ever-shifting spatial puzzle on the map.
I think what'll grab people here is the same thing that got me excited. This like I don't know what you would call it, like a blocking element that feels almost like hey, that's my fish. You remember
I
that?
love that game. That's an amazing game.
For a mean gamer, hey, that's my fish is your perfect like your filler
I
game.
hate mean games, and that's still so good.
It is me, no. In Faya, you can build in ways that really mess with other players, like cutting off their boats or force them to take the long way around. And the fun part is you're incentivized to create like certain kinds of islands because of endgame scoring cards. So yeah, you can be mean, but it's not just like it's not like random spite, Like it's creative, objective driven dickishness, which I am always down for. But I'm not I'm not a complete jerk. I
Debatable.
I also really like positive interaction in games. Like a lot of Lacerda games have positive interaction. And Fea's Swamp has that too. You get money. To get money, you actually have to sell fish to your opponents, which means you're constantly creating these like moments of that sort of give and take relationship that you have to balance things out. I really like when a game forces interaction both ways. You can annoy people, but you also have to kind of be nice to them. It's like the pat on the head before the slap across the face. I like that. In games, not in real life. I don't hurt people.
Debatable again. But the turn order system also feels familiar if you played Terra Mystica.
Yeah.
You got these turn order cards that not only decide when you go, but also give you some kind of bonus ability for the round. It's another layer of decision making that just adds to the tension of every turn. My only real worry here is playtime. This looks like it's going to be a 2-hour game, and especially at three
It's
or
fine.
four players. That's a commitment. But hopefully, we'll get the chance to play it at Essen and figure out if it earns a spot in now your end tier list.
Yeah, and like, there's nothing wrong with long games. It has to warrant that playtime. So it has to be like really good and crunchy. And it's a swamp theme, which means that there will almost certainly be frogs at some point.
Ugh.
Which means this might act as like a double exposure therapy for Kim and her frog phobia.
Excuse me, why are you just telling everybody about
Yes, it's true. Kim is definitely afraid of frogs. Why? I don't know, but it'll be exposure therapy. You can see the frogs in the game, and then you can see that frogs aren't so bad. Kermit the Frog and all that shit. Good. Frogs are good. They must kill mosquitoes.
I don't even like Kermit.
They kill mosquitoes. Frogs. Frog smut.
Oh my god.
And next up is Recall. Recall is a 1 to 4 player strategy game where each player leads a unique tribe exploring unknown lands, reclaiming lost knowledge, and building an engine of progression to outpace rivals. So this next one is Recall, which comes from the same design team that gave us Revive. Now, Kim and I did a full review of Revive. If you wanted to see our opinions of it, you can go watch that video. Basically, general consensus was that like we like the game. I mean, it's very mechanically sound. It's very impressive, but it just like didn't spark that joy. Like it was just good. It wasn't great. But I am curious about Recall. It looks like it builds on that same sort of DNA that Revive had, but at the same time feeling like a very different game. Like the only things really repeating in some sense seems to be the graphic design style. So yeah, you don't want to waste too much of your time reading or watching stuff and that talks about the differences because they are very different games.
At its core, though, Recall is all about action retrieval. On your turn, you've got these key cards, and you either play a key to activate an action space, which also triggers special effects, or you recall, which means you reduce resources and bring your cards back into your hand. The actions look really satisfying because not only do you get the effect of where you place the key, but you also get the resources printed on the key itself. I always love when games layer those decisions so you're getting multiple benefits out of a single move. It actually reminds me a little bit of Revive, in the best way, where you get something both from the card you played and the slot you put it in.
Yeah, and even better is that both the key and the action space itself can be upgraded. Like I've said it before, I'm a big sucker for games where you can sort of instead of just like, oh, here's your player identity, you sort of carve out that player identity as the game progresses. That sense that my path is unique to me and my upgrades are different from everyone else's, it makes me want to come back and experiment with like, I don't know, like different builds if you want to call them that. Plus, it means you can adapt to the current board state and feel clever when you've sort of pivoted because something has changed and you've unleashed the right combo. It's cool. It's cool when a game is able to facilitate that feeling. And unlike Revive, though, this one looks a lot more like board focused. Like movement seems to matter a lot more here since you're sending your followers across a shared map and building building outposts and monuments and workshops. It feels like you're constantly trying to set up those little combo chains, play a key here, move a worker there, score some points, and trigger some other action. And I'm always a sucker for that steady drip of dopamine hits, where it just feels like every action is like cascading into another action. I like it when it's happening on my turn. I don't like it when it's happening on other people's turns, though.
You just like to waste our time.
Yeah, yeah.
But on top of that, Recall has unique play powers thanks to the way tribes and gadgets combine. Your tribe gives you certain abilities, your gadget gives you others, and that pairing creates a ton of variety from game to game. You'll also face three major branching choices throughout the play, and each one nudges you toward different strategies and scoring paths. I really like that because it gives you direction. Like in a lot of these games, you feel kind of aimless, like this is what I'm doing, but it also leaves the door open just enough to pivot mid-game if your original plan isn't working out.
Yeah, so don't go into this expecting like Revive. I want to keep emphasizing this. Don't go in expecting Revive 2.0.
Oh,
That's
repeat?
Yeah, that's right, or repeat. Well, yeah, from what I've seen at least, these are different games. But Recall looks like it takes some of the ideas that work in Revive and then sort of tightens them up and adds more movement, combos, and player identity to the mix. And that's sort of what has me excited. I think this will be a good one. It's really popular right now. Like it's shooting up the BGG hotness chart thingy. So hopefully it's really good. Although I hate the cover. Everybody seems to love the cover and I don't like it. Have you seen it? It's like an eyeball. I don't know. It looks like it's done in that like computer graphics program like Poser. I don't know. I can't explain it.
If it's not cute, I'm not interested.
It's not cute, no. And last but not least is Severton. Severton is a cooperative mystery adventure set in a dark and secretive district of Prague, where a group of teenage friends band together to uncover hidden truths behind the shadowy forces that rule their neighborhood. Listen, man, when Vlada makes a game, I pay attention, like always. And I think what's interesting here, though, is that Severton isn't being published. It is weird that it's not being published by CGE because like all his games get published by CGE. So I said it's coming out by Albi, I think, because apparently I think they hold the rights to the old like this is like old Czech comic from the 1940s that this game is sort of based on.
Don't look at me like I'm supposed to know in 1940s Czech comic. Like,
I don't know much about the original source material either, but the vibe is basically like boys being rascals, boys being boys, sneaking around and solving mysteries. And honestly, I'm into that shit. Like I love when a game opens up a door to a media or cultural reference that I wouldn't normally be exposed to. And to get a board game that reminds me of my youth and how much of a little shit I was, I'm happy. Because I too went around Barrie, Ontario solving mysteries.
what mystery did you solve?
All the mysteries. All of the
So far, all I can really go off are the pictures and a handful of descriptions, but it looks like there's some clever card play happening here. Maybe even maybe even a form of set collection, judging from the icons on the bottoms of the cards. The board itself is divided into these labeled districts, and it looks like you're moving point to handle events popping up in different areas. It feels like one of those games where the story gets told not just through flavor text, but through the way the mechanics push you into tough decisions.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, it looks like you use your action cards to sort of like move, explore, interact with the environments. Meanwhile, enemies, which are neighborhood hooligans called the Vaunts, I think
Or
it's
just bullies?
they're just bullies, bad bullies. Also have like they have their own cards and they're acting, spreading around unrest and danger across the board.
Unrest.
And I think the tension comes from like deciding as a group when to split up to cover more ground and when to sort of stick together for safety. And I really like when a game, there's a lot of co-op games where I feel like you're just designated a task. Whereas this one, I feel like you have your own task, yes, and you can split up. At the same time, you're encouraged to also like get together and work together to solve a common problem. And that's cool.
It's designed for 1 to 5 players, and there are multiple scenarios to work through, and the difficulty is scalable, so you can ratchet it up as you get better. All of that makes me think this is a kind of co-op that's going to generate great table stories. The kind where you remember the time your little gang just barely stopped the villains from taking over a district.
Yeah, and like I'll be real here, like there isn't much concrete information out here yet. Like I know Vlada's done some like designer interviews, but yeah, which probably means like all the content creators are sitting under an embargo while Albie like sort of flips the switch and suddenly we're drowning in coverage.
Not us, though.
Well, maybe,
have it.
maybe not, maybe at Essen. But even with so little info, I had to put Severton on this list. Vlada is one of my favorite designers, and when he drops something new, I don't need a marketing campaign to convince me. I'm there, man.
You're just a fanboy.
I am a fanboy. There's like a few things I'm a fanboy of. He's one of them. And that's our list. If you want to dive deeper into any of these games, definitely check out the coverage from Board Game Ramblings. I'm pretty sure they've reviewed like all the games on this list. Like when I was compiling this list, I kept looking for more information and I just kept watching their videos.
They're
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be at Essen this year, please be sure to say hi to us. We'll only be around for the first 2 days because it's our honeymoon.
Board games are romantic too.
Yes, and nobody ever. But apparently we should be spending some time doing some romantic things. So
Probably.
yeah, we're just there for the first 2 days.
Yeah.
But we're happy to run to anybody who watches the channel, whether you love us or hate us. It keeps us motivated.
Yeah, it does. It does. Like, we appreciate it. It's awesome. Like, and it doesn't happen much. We're like, we're not at the Dice Tower, we're not walking around, and the people are like, whoa, you guys. So, like, we like it. And if,
But we love saying hi to people.
yeah, and a huge thanks to our paid members through YouTube, Mark, Lewis, and Steven. You guys are awesome, and your support really helps. And, it's just $5, sure, but it goes a long way and it adds up. And I promise one day we'll offer something more than just our gratitude. Like, so far, it's just like, join our thingamajigger. What do you get? Nothing.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you at Essen.
Yeah, honeymoon, smut, very smut. Bye.
Bye.